Sometimes it's not the lack of blessing that makes us drift from God. It's the lack of awareness. We live surrounded by grace but numb to it. Waking up, breathing, having someone to love, a moment of silence, a warm meal. These are miracles wearing normal clothes, and gratitude is how we start to see them again. A thankful heart isn't a personality trait, it's a spiritual weapon. It shifts your focus, it opens your eyes, it changes your posture. Because when you give thanks, you stop striving, you stop comparing, you stop feeling like you're behind, and start remembering how far He's already brought you. The enemy wants you anxious, always reaching, always needing more. But gratitude says, I already have more than I deserve. And in that place, your heart softens, your pace slows, your awareness deepens, and suddenly, God isn't just someone you talk about. He's someone you notice, in the ordinary, in the quiet, in the middle of the mess. Gratitude doesn't change your circumstances. It changes you in them. It's not pretending things are perfect. It's choosing to praise anyway. It's the whisper of worship in the middle of a storm. Not because you feel strong, but because you know who's holding you. Gratitude doesn't need everything to make sense. It just needs your willingness to see, to pause long enough to recognize that even in confusion, even in waiting, there are still fingerprints of God all around you. Not just in the breakthrough, but in the breath before it, in the strength to get out of bed, in the quiet reminder, you're not alone. The world trains you to measure your life by what you lack. Gratitude flips the scale. It says, look again. Not at what's missing, but at what's been constant. Not at what was taken, but at what remains. And when you shift your focus, your soul follows. The chaos may still swirl, but your heart starts to steady. Gratitude builds trust. Because when you look back and count what God has done, you begin to believe He'll be faithful again. It's like a spiritual memory, anchoring your today with proof from yesterday. The Red Seas He parted, the doors He opened, the comfort He sent when no one else knew. These weren't accidents. They were love on repeat. And the more you remember, the more you return. Not just emotionally, but spiritually. You come closer. You draw near. Not because you have to, but because you want to. Gratitude becomes the path back to presence. We often wait to be grateful until life feels good. But what if gratitude is what actually makes life feel good? What if joy doesn't follow outcomes? It follows perspective. That's why Paul could write, "Give thanks in all circumstances." Not because all circumstances are good, but because God is still in them. Gratitude isn't denial, it's declaration. A quiet decision to say, I see you here, Lord, even when I don't see the outcome. It doesn't ignore grief, but it invites grace. It doesn't erase pain, but it makes room for peace. And in that space, something shifts. You're not just surviving, you're seeing. Not just enduring, but worshiping. The more you practice gratitude, the more aware you become of God's nearness. It softens your heart. It clears your vision. It slows your spirit down enough to notice again the way sunlight hits the trees, the kindness in a friend's voice, the fact that you're still here, still breathing, still being held. Gratitude turns moments into altars, ordinary days into sacred space. And over time, it doesn't just change how you see life, it changes how you walk through it. Slower, softer, closer to the one who gives every good gift. A thankful heart doesn't wait for things to change. It changes you as you wait. Because when you choose gratitude in the middle, something holy happens. You stop demanding answers and start resting in presence. You stop measuring your life by what's missing and begin marveling at what's been given. That's why Jesus gave thanks before the miracle, before the bread multiplied, before Lazarus walked out. Gratitude was never a response to what had happened. It was a preparation for what would, a declaration that God is already good, already present, already moving, even if you don't see it yet. So what if your breakthrough begins with thanksgiving? What if the clarity you're craving is waiting behind a whispered, "Thank you"? Not because you're trying to manipulate God, but because you're finally aligned with Him. Gratitude doesn't twist His hand, it opens yours. And when you live this way, grateful, grounded, present, everything shifts. You walk lighter, pray deeper, and find God not just in the mountaintops, but in the mundane. If this reminded you that joy isn't found in what you get, but in what you notice, subscribe and turn on the bell, not for more content, but for a life anchored in gratitude, one quiet moment at a time. Gratitude doesn't mean you're ignoring the hard parts of life. It means you're refusing to let the hard parts steal your hope. Because a grateful heart doesn't pretend everything's perfect. It just keeps its eyes open wide enough to see that God is still good, even here. Sometimes the most radical act of faith is to say thank you in the middle of uncertainty. To give thanks for what is, instead of obsessing over what's not. That's how you protect your peace. That's how you guard your joy. Not with control, but with surrender. Because when you practice gratitude, you stop needing everything to go your way. You just need to remember He's still with you. Gratitude is a habit that retrains your soul. It turns complaints into prayers, worry into worship, delay into trust. It shifts your language from "why me" to "thank you anyway." And in that shift, the atmosphere changes, not always around you, but always within you. Your circumstances might not shift today, but your heart can. And when your heart is rooted in gratitude, even the smallest moments become sacred. Even the slow seasons become significant. Because in every thank you, you're not just speaking words, you're stepping closer. The world tells you to wait until everything's right to feel thankful. But the Spirit teaches you to be thankful and let that reshape everything. Gratitude isn't reactive, it's redemptive. It doesn't just respond to blessing, it reveals blessing. Even in the middle of pain, even when prayers feel slow, even when you don't understand the why. A heart trained in gratitude starts to notice what others miss. The peace in a deep breath, the warmth of sunlight, the faithfulness of a God who shows up daily, not just in miracles, but in moments. Gratitude softens your memory, so instead of replaying pain, you start replaying providence. You stop asking, "What did I lose?" and start wondering, "How was I carried?" God doesn't demand your thankfulness. He invites you into it, because He knows what it does to your soul. It calms your chaos, refocuses your faith, realigns your heart with heaven. It's not a bonus virtue, it's a survival tool, a way to stay grounded when the noise grows loud, a way to hold joy when the world hands you fear. When gratitude becomes your lens, nothing is wasted. Not time, not tears, not even the waiting. Because a grateful heart sees with spiritual eyes, and those eyes will always find God. The truth is, gratitude doesn't always come naturally. It's not always your first instinct, especially when life feels unfair, when prayers go unanswered, when loss hits too close. In those moments, gratitude feels almost unreasonable. But that's what makes it holy. It's not based on emotion. It's a choice, a declaration, a posture of the soul that says, "Even now, I will thank you." Gratitude in suffering is not denial, it's defiance. A spiritual stance that says pain will not have the final word, that the presence of hardship doesn't cancel the presence of God. In fact, Sometimes gratitude is the clearest proof that He is near, because you're still here, still breathing, still able to say, God is good, even through tears. Every time you give thanks in the valley, you train your heart for the mountain. Every whisper of thank you in the storm lays foundation for unshakable peace. This isn't toxic positivity, it's soul resilience, built not on pretending, but on perceiving, on seeing God not just after the breakthrough, but before it. And once you start seeing that way, it's hard to go back. Gratitude rewires you, rebuilds you, reminds you that you're not abandoned, you're anchored. One day you'll look back and realize that gratitude didn't just get you through, it grew you. It shaped your spirit. It deepened your trust. It made you notice the God who never left, even when everything else felt unsteady. Gratitude didn't erase the pain, but it changed what the pain produced. Not bitterness, but beauty. The world teaches you to hustle for joy, but gratitude teaches you to hold it, to stop chasing what's next long enough to worship what already is. The breath you just took, the grace you woke up in, the peace that somehow stayed. These aren't small things. They're glimpses of heaven breaking into your today. Gratitude transforms not because your life suddenly becomes easy, but because your eyes start to see clearly. And the clearer you see, the closer you feel. Not just to peace, but to presence. God doesn't require you to thank Him for everything. But when you thank Him in everything, you draw near in a way that words alone never could. So maybe it's time to pause, breathe, look around, and whisper what your soul has needed to say for far too long. Thank you, even now. And now ask yourself this: if gratitude became your first response instead of your last resort, how much closer to God would you be by the end of today?